I was about 8 years old in primary school, and the teacher went around the class to ask everybody what they wanted to do when they grew up. And I'd always wanted to be a judge from watching Crown Court on the TV. And so when the teacher was going around the room and she finally got to me, she said, "Sandie, what do you want to do when you grow up?" And I'd heard all these other really sort of rather silly comments, I thought anyway, about being a princess and being a footballer. So I thought, I've got a proper job, I'm going to say. And I said, I want to be a judge. And she turned around to me and said, "I'm sorry, but little black girls from Balham don't become judges." I was an only child. My father came from Nigeria and my mum came from Trinidad, and they met here in the UK, in London, as students. And growing up in South London in Balham, they always taught me, do not use your gender or your race as an excuse. Neither of them would listen to anything like that. I was not allowed to even go there with that. I went to Putney High School and I was told you can be anything you want to be, do not limit yourself. And I became very politically active at school, and I used to go on marches at the weekends. It was a very vibrant time then. There was a lot that was different in the world to now. So I went on lots of anti-apartheid marches, etc. It was whilst I was there that I got up and spoke in public for the first time to advocate for something. And at the time, one of the banks on campus, which was well known for having branches in South Africa. So I got up in front of a room full of people, something I would never have thought that I would do then. I was only about 19, and said, I really don't want this bank on campus. And the reason is that if I was in South Africa, I wouldn't be able to get up and say that. And I got a round of applause for saying that. And then we didn't allow the bank on campus. And I suddenly thought, wow, it's really powerful to say what you think. I ended up at Schroders, and that's how I ended up in the city post Big Bang, because they were looking to recruit more people. And it just seemed to be my forte for some reason, completely not in the human rights space at all. But I almost thought, oh, you know what, little black girls don't go and do that in the city, let me go and do that. I was only 25 and I was heading the department, and nearly everybody in the department was older than me. So it was quite a sort of big learning curve. I hadn't long qualified, and there I was heading the trust department at Schroders. I think that being black and female in a very white male-dominated environment probably wasn't particularly easy. And I say probably because I didn't notice it. I'm not saying it wasn't there, but I chose to ignore it deliberately and just get on with it. And what I always thought was, at that time, being an in-house lawyer wasn't considered the thing you did. You were supposed to be in private practice and become a partner, or be at the bar and, you know, become a QC or whatever it was. So it was almost open space for me. I was a bit of an outlier. One of the things I do remember before I went to Schroders, when I went to the recruitment agent, I hadn't long got married, and my married surname was a very sort of English surname. And the recruitment agent actually advised that I drop the Okoro and adopt the English surname, because it'd be easier for me to get a job. And I was rather horrified at this, because I thought, if I change my name and then I walk in through the door, the kind of game is over, isn't it? So someone is not going to hire me because of my surname. They're certainly not going to hire me when they see me. So I thought, no, I'm not going to change my name. I'm who I am. I'm very proud of that. I have 2 children. They're nearly grown up now, but my daughter's autistic, and I got divorced when they were quite young, so I was a single mother for most of my career. And actually I was a single mother in the whole part of my career that was successful. And so it wasn't easy. And I always said I was sort of one nanny away from disaster. But one of the things that I learned from my daughter is patience, because I don't think I had much patience before she came into my life. But you need that with a disabled child. And I took that into the workplace. And what I took, because it's with her autism, she's not Asperger's, she's got a low IQ, I also took the patience of understanding when people don't understand something and taking the time to explain it to them. And that is really important. My daughter, who's the elder of the two, is actually adopted. So I had to ask for adoption leave when I was at Schroders that didn't really exist at that point in time, but they, in terms of a legal right to it, but they very kindly gave me some time off for that, so that was very good. And I was really surprised at this because I was in a professional environment and I wasn't used to the kind of way that people would speak to women who are out and about with children as if they were somewhat half stupid. So I was really surprised at that. It was headline press, and a number of people were getting in touch. And they used the word role model, and this was the first time I'd heard this, and I thought, well, who's this? This is not me, I'm certainly not a role model. But then I suddenly realised that you don't choose to be a role model, you find yourself in that situation. And I felt a certain sense of responsibility not to have mystique around it, or what I did, or my success, and to talk about it. And I didn't realise until I started talking about it that it was actually of interest to other people. For me, I was just living my life. I was doing my job, and I think, wait a minute, I'm doing a job that I'm paid to do. This should not be news. This should not be something great. In 2015, I was very proud to make it to number 4 in the Powerlist, which lists the most powerful black people in Britain. I was particularly proud of that because Steve McQueen, who did 10 Years a Slave, came in at number 5, Idris Elba came in at number 8, and Lenny Henry came in below me as well, as did Lewis Hamilton. And my son was really impressed that I'd beaten all of those. But it's nice to know that it means something, and it means something to, you know, the black community in the UK. A headhunter contacted me about the job at the bank. And the way they do it, they usually say, do you know anyone who's interested? And they wait for you to go, oh, I think I might be interested. So I said, oh, I don't really know anyone. Wow, that's a big job. And they said, well, would you be interested? And I said, me? Oh, no way. No way I could do a job like that. They would never choose me. It would never happen. It's too big. It's not my field, etc., etc. So I said, you know, thank you very much, but no. I did a typical thing that many people do, particularly women. You tell yourself the whole narrative and then convince yourself it wasn't going to happen. So I rang up the headhunter while I was on holiday and said, is the position still open? Can I throw my name in? And they said, absolutely. And the rest is history. I'm a guardian of the institution, and you pass that on from one general counsel to another. So it's quite a unique role at the bank. So it doesn't stop in the usual place the job of a general counsel stops. You have this additional role of really, you know, working with the board to ensure that we stay within our mandate. Because of these privileges and immunities, there isn't really, you know, the outside courts to guide you in that sense. Although it is under challenge, we're there to ensure that we stick within that and we're accountable. My ambition has always and always will be to be a judge. I think maybe I haven't quite managed that. Maybe I won't. Maybe my career has gone in a different direction, but I certainly feel I've achieved an equivalency. Just over a year ago, Middle Temple made me a master of the bench. And that is accorded to people who are High Court judges or above, or who honorary benches who have achieved an equivalent career. You know, going back to the story of when the teacher said little black girls from Balham don't become judges, I always wonder if I turned around and say, oh, okay, then I'll become General Counsel of the World Bank. That would have been any better at that time.